want the staff to look at the potential of allowing adult cabarets, gentlemen's clubs to exist in the downtown core, where we're investing $20 million with the hopes that people are going to show up down there. You know, it hasn't worked yet with the other $20 million we've invested downtown.
Go ahead, Mr. Weaver.
What do you want me to do now, Mayor?
You got your 5. Go.
Okay. So anyway, I had an opportunity this summer to go to Duluth, Minnesota. And how many of you been to Duluth, Minnesota? A lot of you on Canal Street, where you go, the drawbridge goes up, and it's hundreds of thousands, actually millions of people go there every year. It's a tourist all year long, not just in the warm months, but all year long. And they watch the big 1,000-foot ships come in through the drawbridge, and they bike and family friendly, and just a lot of activities. Well, we were there, and about 300 feet from the Lake Superior, where you look out at Lake Superior, it's fantastic, are these fancy hotels, 175, 250 bucks a night, weekends even more. There's 5 or 6 of them on this little, it's sort of goes into a bay area. And when I was up there, I noticed that they're going to be doing some development in one specific area, 2 acres, and the land's going to be $550,000 an acre. Grandma's up there is just, they have a marathon, a big marathon. You must know it, yeah. So anyway, they're going to put up a pub there and invest. And I noticed throughout your whole writings that we read here is fraught with prostitution and hookers and terrible things going on and drug dealings taking place. And these things should be hidden back and 1,000 feet from this and 500 feet from that. You know, I think we're overprotecting ourselves a little too much. But anyway, what I noticed up there is, we were up there for 4 days, and I didn't really know what was right across the street from me on Canal Street. It's called the Saratoga Club. Never even really noticed it until my last night there, Thursday night, when a bunch of teachers from Minnesota were there for some kind of convention or meeting, because there was no school on Friday. And they were all going over to the Saratoga Club. Well, then I go, well, what's the Saratoga Club? Well, I found out about it, and you can go on the website and look it up, actually. And there's no doormen, there's no bouncers or police officers or prostitutes or hookers, or I think anybody's been to Duluth can testify to that you don't see, those things don't exist up there, but they have a gentleman's club. Oh man, it's very popular, and people come out all different hours till closing and go eat and get a cup of coffee. Actually, connected to it, I believe, next to it is a Caribou Coffee. And then there's another facility on the other side. So it works there is what I'm saying. I think it's time that we revisit what Mesa City has done to itself and look at the option of maybe having a gentleman's club, adult cabaret. Now we can do things like talk about how much of it is dancing, how much of it is other entertainment at the piano, or all those different things. Because they have live jazz there on weekends that the place is just packed. And you know, so it's not all just about that. So I would hope that we would maybe readdress it. Let me just think outside the box here. Okay, what if Ed Weininger's building was an adult cabaret? Then there's a couple hundred people that visited it every night, and more than that on weekends. And people were spending their money and coming out and walking around and mingling and looking for a place to chow. And that's what you want. If we look at what we've got right now, there's not much activity happening down there, and we're throwing $20 million at it right now between the streetscape and the right hotel. And you know, people don't really have the courage to talk about what I'm talking about here. And if I raised their hands and said, how many of you been in an adult cabaret before? Would you raise your hands? No. Hey, look at that crazy guy who wants a stop sign. That's an older man, I appreciate it.
Bad timing, but...
So, that's my point right there. You know, look how many people went to Dubuque, but nobody went to the Saratoga Club. It's been there a long time. Now, my concept here would be for staff to maybe connect with these places that are doing it legitimately and have great times and are offering something for everybody. And Duluth would be a good example. Talk to their community development and say, hey, what kind of problems you have down there? Talk to their police department. I mean, I got to tell you also, growing up with 5 gentlemen's clubs in Mesa City and many other things, 2 or 3 massage parlors, I never have seen a hooker or a prostitute on any corner in Mesa City. I've never seen a drug dealing go down. My last drug dealing I saw was when marijuana first came to Mesa City. Nobody really knew what it was, and they were trading $5 for this and $5 for that up at the Hop. You know, and then that went underground. So I think we're big enough that we can look at something like this and open ourselves up. And so I would like to, maybe I don't need to make a friendly amendment. Maybe I just.
I think, yeah, we're gonna have Diana read that back.
Because I think it would be very appropriate that we start growing up ourselves and encouraging Mesa City to be like, I mean, look at Las Vegas.
Thank you.
And I'm not saying we're gonna be like Las Vegas, but look at Las Vegas. How many of you been to Las Vegas?
All right, thank you. Anybody else want to speak on the amendment?
Could we read it before?
Yeah, we can. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It was moved by Weaver and second by Nelson to pull out the definition of adult cabaret under 13.2 and to have staff look at the potential for allowing adult cabaret in the downtown core.
Mr. Marshall.
Well, my question is, what's it do to the process tonight here for the whole code change? I mean, aren't we basically tabling it until it's either revisited or rewritten? So shouldn't that be the motion to?
This is a major change.
Send it, yeah.
I think I would double check with the city attorney. I think this is an amendment that we can make on the fly.
Okay.
Insert that language for second reading next week, is that correct? Yeah.
Is that Mr. Meyer?
I would, before we do that, I would like to, you know, when we do that, we'll explain why we didn't include it in the first place.
Okay.
Because there is a legitimate argument for not doing that. Ultimately, we'll give you the information you need to make the decision either way.
If it passes, there's 2 more readings. So.
Mhm.
Mr. Meyer, I didn't see, did you not, are you okay with that?
Fine.
Okay. Mr. Weaver, do you have any issue leaving the definition in there? I mean,
For the first reading?
yeah, for the first reading and then keeping your motion to direct staff, and we'll bring that in front of council, to direct staff to.
Yeah, and I just want to say one more thing in response to what she just said.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about touching, Trish. I'm not talking about a place where we're touching.
Mhm.
You know, there's all kinds of things happening. This is not one of those places. So, and plus, I just want to reiterate to everybody here voting, this did not have an adverse impact on property values when an acre of land selling for $550,000 right across the street from it. And there's over 1,000 hotel rooms within 100 feet of this building, and they're almost filled 85% of the time. That's like having a village right there in front of you all year long.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. We're standing here. Does anybody else have anything before we move to response? All right, you want to read the motion? The motion
That's
is.
not the same motion I have written there.
Yeah, I'm going to take it out. The motion is to direct staff to insert language for adult cabaret in the downtown core.
You want to include the zoning district, what is it, Z5?
Yes.
And Z5. All right.
And do the appropriate
You're-
research.
You're okay with that
And
clarification? Okay. There is a second on this. We've concluded discussion unless there's somebody else who's going to say anything. So the clerk call the roll on the amendment to the ordinance on first reading.
Weaver,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Marsters,
No.
Tornquist,
No.
Solberg. Yes. Hickey.
Yes.
Motion carries. Let's go back to 14, the original ordinance. Mr. Weaver's concluded his opening time. Does anybody else have anything to add on this, on the first reading? All right, seeing none. Clerk call the roll.
Please read the motion.
The motion is adopted,
Is
is ordinance on first reading
with now.
with the amendment. Tornquist,
No.
Nelson,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Solberg. Yes. Marsters.
No.
Hickey.
Yes.
Motion carries on first. Thank you, council.